and my family who dropped by to check us out today. Okay, we're going to start out here with Romans 8. Let's see. Romans 8:28. Let me take these glasses off so I can see. When you get there, say, got milk?
Got milk.
All right. So I say got milk because you know how the Bible say that Paul said that as young learners we have to start out with milk. Okay. So I asked you if you got milk because I'm going to give you a little bit of some chunks of meat, so you're going to need some milk to swallow this with. So if you're there, you say, got milk?
Got milk.
Well, all right then. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us?
All right.
He that spared not his own Son, but delivered him up for us all, and how shall he not with him also freely give all things? Now, one morning I was up watching my little stories and everything, and I heard this one guy say that the average believer will feed himself 3 hot meals a day, 7 days a week, and 1 cold snack on Sunday. I said, you know, I kind of giggled at myself because I thought about you. I said, well, he ain't never been to Mount Olive and heard my pastor. My pastor give a meal out so hot you got to blow on it sometimes before you can take it all in, you know what I'm saying? You got to blow on it. But what he's saying is that it's like, if I was going to give this sermon here a title, it would be a call to service.
Amen.
Now, when you say it with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus was born of a virgin and that you believe that he was raised from the dead on the 3rd day with all power in hand, when you confess that and you let Jesus into your life, something supernatural happens, you know what I'm saying? And not too long ago, we witnessed something that I thought that was so cool. We witnessed a whole family being saved together.
Amen.
2 kids, a mama and a daddy, a husband, and a wife.
Amen.
And I was looking at the husband, he had the look on his face like, I'm cool with this. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, she didn't have to force him to do that. It was like he was already willing. You know what I'm saying? So if God saved you from your sin, then you have been called to serve. Regardless of what you might think about it, you have been called to serve. Now, let's see here. Now, one of the first things you got to notice is that in Romans 12:3, he says, matter of fact, let's turn there so I can explain a little bit better. Turn Romans 12:3 here. Let's see here. When you get there, say, got milk. All right. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but soberly, according to God has dealt every man the measure of faith. Now, notice he didn't say a pint of faith, a gallon of faith. The word says the measure of faith. So that means you got exactly what you need. Now, 11:6 says that it's impossible to please him without faith. You understand what I'm saying? So when you confess that with your mouth and believe it in your heart that Jesus died for all of our sins, then you are called to service. You understand what I'm saying? But you can't do it without having faith. Like I just told you a while ago, the Christian want to come to church and get his cold snack on Sunday. And then after that, God don't hear no more from him.
Oh my God.
Until that very next Sunday. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I told y'all a while back, I shared some things with y'all about how I used to drink. You know, and how I used to get away with it. But see, I had faith that I could get away with it. Why? Because I practiced it.
Wow.
I practiced what I did. When I would drink me a liter of gin, I practiced walking straight. I practiced it. So when the man asked me to get out my car and walk straight, I ain't got no problem with it. So you see what I'm saying? So you got to practice with your faith. You got to feed your faith.
Go ahead, man.
You got to feed it and be ready for it.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
Now we're going to take this here to Mark 11:21. Now in the story here, Mark 11:21, is I believe the disciples and Jesus had just come taking a little trip to Bethel, I believe it was. And Jesus had gotten a little hungry, and he seen a fig tree off in the distance. So he walked up to it to get him a fig or two, and there wasn't nothing on it. He didn't see nothing but leaves. So Jesus was like, okay, no man eat fruit of this tree hereafter forever. Now we're going to drop down here I'm going to take it up at 22, Mark 11:22, and it says, and Jesus answered, said unto him, 21. And Peter calling the remembrance said unto him, Master, behold, the fig tree which thou cursest is withered away. And Jesus answered him, said unto them, have faith in God. Faith, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, now 23 says, verily I say unto you that whosoever, and let's do this like this. I want you to hold one finger up here. So I want y'all, we're going to count. For verily I say unto you that whosoever, now, Deacon Anderson, he is a whosoever. I'm a whosoever. You are a whosoever. So whosoever shall say, that's one, to this mountain, be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea, and thou shalt not doubt in his heart, but shall believe in those things which he saith, and it shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Whatsoever he says. Okay, now that's 3 times he said that right there. Says 3 times in one verse. So if you notice, he put the emphasis on saying.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? He put the emphasis on saying.
All right.
So, let me see here. We're going to get this here right, because I want y'all to get it.
Big time.
All right. Let's see here. I got it here somewhere. All right. We're going to go. All right. Job 3:10, Proverbs 4:24, Proverbs 6:2, Proverbs 12:18, Proverbs 13:2, Proverbs 15:4, Proverbs 18:7, Proverbs 18:21. Okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to just pick one out of that. Death and life are in the power of the tongue.
Yes, sir. Come on now. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Brother Elvis, I want all them scriptures. Got a Bible? Yeah. As a matter of fact, speaking of Bible, let me tell you something real quick. Now this is kind of like a commercial thing. I know a lot of y'all got the Bible app on your phone. I think that's a wonderful thing. I think it is so cool to have a Bible app on your phone and to use it when you need it, but not in church. When you come to church, I think you should have a Bible. And the reason I say that is because you got your phone and pastor say, look up such and such a verse, you pop that on, and the first thing you see is Facebook, and that number up there, you got 3 hits on there. So right then, that's a diversion. You can't think. You know Cousin Pookie and them are saying something about you. So you can't think about what you're supposed to be looking for. You understand what I'm saying? And it's a true thing. I mean, and regardless how you look at it, that's just what it is. It's a diversion. So now, if you want to get things right, get yourself a Bible. Now, I want y'all to listen to this right here.
All right.
You hear it right there? You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like chains being broken. Sounds like chains being broken. But when you click your phone and you hit that little thing where it say click up, it sounds like shackles being locked up on the I'm just saying. Now, those little scriptures that I just gave, we're gonna take one big one. It was like Job 3:10. It says, Let the weak say I'm strong.
Yeah.
So don't be going around talking about I'm weak.
All right.
Proverbs 4:24. Put away from thee a forward mouth and perverse lips far from thee. Proverbs 6:2. Thou art snare with the word of thy mouth, and thou art taken with thy words of thy mouth. Proverbs 12:18. There is that speaketh like a piercing of the sword, but the tongue is wise is health. Proverbs 13:2. The man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of his trespasses shall eat violence. Proverbs 15:4. A wholesome tongue is the tree of life, but a perverseness there is a breach of the spirit.
All right.
Proverbs 18:7. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are a snare to his soul.
All right. What you say?
Now, when I read that, I had to think back about me. I'm talking about David B.C. now. This is David before Christ.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying? So, like the very first time I hit crack, the very first time, the first thing I noticed, besides I was feeling so good, the first thing I noticed is that I lost the ability to speak. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be like, hey man, what you smoking that butter? Where you get that from? Couldn't talk. And don't ask no female, where you get that butter from? They got to snap the tongue like they got to make sure it's still in the mouth. You understand what I'm saying? So, and that's how the devil got it. If you can't speak on nothing, then you can't do nothing because the word is in the power of the tongue. You understand what I'm saying? It's there. So if you can't speak, that's just the way it is. Now, faith, we're talking about faith here. Like I said, you got to practice it.
Amen.
Faith cannot work in an unforgiving heart.
Amen.
You got to practice with your faith. You got to work on forgiving people. You got to work on forgiving yourself. There's a lot of things that you do. You know what I'm saying? Let's check this here out right here. I'm gonna wrap this thing up right here, but I want y'all to see some things here. I want y'all to see some things. Mark 11. We're gonna go to Mark 11:25. Real quick here, right back there. We read 22. Let's see. Mark 11:25. Okay. Let's see. No, we're going to start at 24. Therefore, I say unto you, what things soever you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them, and ye shall have them. And when you stand praying, forgive, if you have aught against any, that your Father also, which is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses. But if you do not forgive, neither will your Father forgive which is in heaven your trespasses. So you got to learn how to forgive all the time. When you wake up in the morning and say, I'm gonna start practicing this thing. I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna walk out the door forgiving people. I'm gonna get to the traffic light and I ain't gonna be mad at that person that's taking too long because I know they're texting and the light done turned green on and I make me miss it. I ain't gonna be mad. Learn how to forgive before you get in the line at McDonald's. You understand what I'm saying? Because you know they ain't gonna never get your order right, especially when you got a car full of children. Then you're gonna get off down the street, oh, they ain't give me my fries, and then you wanna come back and cuss them out. Don't cuss nobody out that's messing with your food. Don't do that. Learn how to forgive. Learn how to forgive yourself. For a lot of these things, you just got to do that. That's just the way things go. That's just the way things go. Now we're going to look at like 9 manifestations here. We talk about, the faith and everything, and we're going to look at, matter of fact, 4 days, let's go to Acts. I'm gonna show you something. Let's go to Acts 9. Oh, I like doing it. I just love hearing them pages turning. Chains being broke all the time. Chains being broke. All right. We're going to start I'm going to start at the beginning so y'all get an idea what's going on here. When you get to Acts chapter 9, say, got milk? All right. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus, to the synagogues, that if he had found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Yeah. Now notice, he didn't just come out and say, Saul, why are you persecuting the church? Why are you persecuting my people? Now hold on to that thought right there. To go to, let's try Matthew 25. Let me see, I think it's Matthew 25. I got tired of looking through my notes. I had to take off my glasses so I can see. I might have to put them back on. See Matthew 25. Yeah, Matthew 25 and verse 40. When you get there, say, got milk. Boy, y'all working that Bible, boy, I'm telling you. Y'all working it. Okay. Now it says here, and the king shall answer, say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. So every little snickering bad word you had to say about somebody else, you trying to persecute them, you ain't persecuting them, you persecuting Jesus, because you are a believer. You understand what I'm saying? You need to know better how to forgive and how to watch your mouth and how to take time if you have to count to 100 sometime. 1, 2, 3, I forgive, I forgive. 1, 2, 3, I forgive, I forgive. You know what I'm saying? You just have to be ready for things like this here. Now we're finna look at the 9 manifestations of the blessing from God and the ministry things there. I think that would be 1 Corinthians. I might be getting kind of good at this. I'm starting to remember things. Yeah. Amen. 1 Corinthians 12. Yeah. 1 Corinthians 12. Well, I got this here. Well, God got it. I'm trying to tell you now. God got it. 1 Corinthians. Wait a minute. Let's see. 1 Corinthians 12. Oh, yeah. All right. 1 Corinthians, starting at chapter, verse 1. When you get there, say, got milk? Got milk. All right. Now, concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Amen, Lord. Yet know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto the dumb idols, even as ye were led. Wherefore I give you to understanding that no man speaketh by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say that Jesus is Lord, but by the Holy Ghost. Right. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are differences in the ministrations, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but in the same God, which worketh all in all. But the manifestations of the Spirit is given to every man a profit withal. For one is given the Spirit of the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the Spirit, by the same Spirit, to another the working miracles, and to another prophecy, another discerning the spirits, to another divers kinds of tongues, and another the interpretation of tongues. But all these things worketh that one of the self-same Spirit, dividing to every man servantly as he will. Now, see, you might be saying, well, like I said, you are called, once you said with your mouth, I believe in Jesus, let come into my life and do something with it, you know what I'm saying? So you might not be able to sing like me. Notice I said you can't sing like me. But, and you might not be able to do a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Because you look around the church and you see people that's talented at doing this and they're talented at doing that. Your talent might be a person to relieve pressure. You might get with pastor today after church and say, look here, every Monday for the next month I'm going to come in and vacuum the floor and wipe down the pews with some old English. I'm talking about furniture polish now, not old English 800. I ain't talking about the 8 ball. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I gotta make it plain. We're coming in and wiping down the people's bill, you know what I mean? Now, let's look at chapter 13, 1 Corinthians. When you get there, say, got milk. All right, now, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity. Now, charity is a Greek translation for love. Now, if I do this like this, I don't think I'll be robbing the scripture, because 1 John 4:16 says, God is love. Amen. So if I change this charity out and just say, angels and have not God, I am become a sounding brass or as a tingling cymbal. And though I have a gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains. Look at that. You got Mark 11, 24 right there again. Remove mountains. Now, it took me a minute to really understand what that meant. Because in my mind, I'm thinking like I'm looking at TV. I see a big old mountain with a little snow on the top of the hill, you know. But what it is, it's talking about a problem that you might have. You understand what I'm saying? So your mountain might be alcohol. Your mountain might be sex. Your mountain might be weed. But I'm going to tell you what. Matter of fact, oh, thank you, God, thank you. I am going to help y'all take a big chunk out of y'all mountain right now. Take your phones out. And don't be talking about you ain't getting no signal, because faith finna give you a signal. Trust me, take your phones out. Take your phones out. I'm finna show y'all something. Well, the Lord finna show you something. We finna take a big chunk out of your mountain. And then we're gonna wrap this thing up here. But we're gonna take a big chunk out first. Y'all ready? I want you to activate your phone, go down, find contacts. Stroll down, find the weed man. Delete and block that number. Yeah.
Come on.
Look at there. Find the drug man.
Boom. Out of there.
Delete and block that number.
The whole chunk.
Find that married man's phone number. Delete and block that number. Find that married woman's phone number. Delete and block that number. Find that dude that only calls you on Friday, Saturday night at 3:30 a.m. because he done left the club and they couldn't find nobody else to sleep with. Find that number, delete it, and block that number. Find the number that the dude to call you on the 30th of the month because he know you're getting a check on the 3rd and your food stamps come in on the 4th. Find that number, delete it, and block that number. Now look at here. Now I want to try something here. Now we're gonna take this here, check out some of this way of how God is giving this thing to us. We still in chapter 13. Now we're gonna take off at verse 3. And although I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, but I'm gonna use God, and have not charity, it profits me nothing. Charity, God suffers long, as is kind. God envieth not. God vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doeth not believe itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh not evil, rejoice not in iniquity, but rejoice in the truth. Bear all things, believe all things, hope all things, endureth all things. God never faileth. Now, we ain't got to look at this one, but 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 20 says, now we are ambassadors for Christ. So by that being true, we know it is, but that's what the Bible say we are, ambassadors for Christ. I want you to try reading this here like this here. God suffers long, and so do I. God envieth not, envieth not, neither do I. God vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, neither am I. Doeth not behave himself unseemly, seeketh not her own, not easily provoked, neither am I. Not thinketh no evil, neither will I. Rejoice in iniquity, but rejoice in truth. Beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. God and I never faileth. God don't fail. You are an ambassador for the Lord. You won't fail either. But you got to have that faith. Thank you very much.